Driving trophy trucks in BeamNG is maybe the most realistic trophy truck experience we've had in any video game ever, and on top of that, a team of modders have altered the Johnson Valley map in the game to create the Baja75 map. You can drive a trophy truck over 35 miles, of course, or take a helicopter to the sky and follow your buddy as he makes his journey along the way. Today, we're going to rip this beast around the track and show you what it's like. Let's go. All right, we're set to go. We're going to start at the Baja starting line right here, and we're going to start at sunrise because sometimes the Baja races start at sunrise. Not all of them do. It depends on the length of the races, but sometimes at least the trucks will start off around sunrise, or the bikes will start off kind of ish sunrise, and then trucks will follow fairly soon after. But I do have a day-night cycle on, so we're going to go ahead and actually race in the night and in the day a little bit here. But what I love about this map that was created here is that it starts off by going right into the wash, and so this is a very classic part of the Baja course in Ensenada when they start off, and then they go into the little like riverbed, and there's a lot of fans that gather around. They go over some water, so it's as realistic, I feel like, as they can make it to start off. And you're going to see a lot of these purple course markers. We're going to try to follow them kind of as well as we can. We got our headlights on, and we're going to just go ahead and absolutely mob through the desert as best we can. This course is, as they put it, 35 miles long, so if you obviously average 35 miles an hour, you'll get there in about an hour. Having played it a couple times myself now, it's usually somewhere in the range of like a half hour to 45 minutes to get it done, because obviously you're doing quite a bit faster than 35 in a lot of spots, but then other spots like this one where you got to make a tight U-turn, it's a little bit slower. And then there's a ton of sections all throughout the course that are very bumpy and slow. I'm almost certain we're going to flip the truck a few times, but I'm going to try my best to limit the damage as much as possible and stay upright and try to actually get a full completed run. We're not doing this in the Baja75 server, which there are a couple Baja75 servers, and they've got a great little like kind of race event series set up that you can enter in and do all that, and they got a bunch of rules that go with it too, and you can race all the way from, you know, trophy trucks down to I think class 7, and I already flipped it once. So little damage to the headlight bar there, but I don't think, did I do any damage to the front wheel of the truck? No, it looks like we can keep going. Up, we flipped again. So we're going to flip a few times. We'll just be able to pretty easily reset right here. And looks like we're already at pretty high noonish for the day. So things are going to move along pretty quickly. Cloud cover coming overhead, making it so the lights can see stuff a little bit better. But this is incredible, man. The amount of work and dedication that went into making these Baja maps was immense, but on top of that, what BeamNG has been able to deliver. Oh, we're already going into nighttime. I thought it was like midday. We are straight up going into the night, and I've barely made it like a mile or two into the course. So we're going to have quite a few day-night cycles, but that'll be the fun of it, I suppose, right? A little bit on-road and then back off-road stuff, and it is now fully nighttime. Fortunately, our headlights work beautifully. We'll be able to see quite a bit of stuff. And for those of you that have no idea about Baja racing in general, it is, you know, a 1,000-mile race or a 500-mile race. Sometimes they do the San Felipe 250. They have a bunch of different desert racing events, but specifically in Baja, those are kind of the main ones. And it is a day-night race. Like, they don't stop to take a break at night. Most of the time, unless you're, you know, doing the solo journey, you'll have a co-driver or co-riders to switch off with. And, you know, for the 1,000-mile journey, usually there's at least 2, if not 3 drivers that do the trophy truck. For the bikes, it's usually about the same, 2 or 3 riders, sometimes 4 or 5, depends on how big their team is that they put together. And they'll race through the night just like this with not a lot of help to be had. And another real tricky part about Mexico is it's illegal to fly helicopters at night in Mexico. So once the sun sets, it's very often kind of known as the time that you really are all by yourself. Like, you just have to bring the truck all the way back, or the bike, and not have a big accident or crash. And sometimes that has unfortunately led to fatalities. I mean, not just in the night, there's obviously been big day crashes as well, but it's kind of the last remaining, aside from like kind of rally racing or Isle of Man, I guess, on the street side, of like the true warriors kind of putting it all on the line just for this glory, because there's not a lot of money in it either. There's a lot of people with money that do it, but not a lot of money in it for winning or anything like that. So it's all for the love of the game, and that's kind of why I still love it as one of my personal favorite events to tune into every year that it happens. So when I saw that this desert map was available in BeamNG, I had to load it up and try it out, and I've been blown away by how incredible this whole thing is put together. Sunshine coming back out as we keep mobbing through some of these massive sections. I mean, look at the suspension going to work over some of these bumps, and you can see just how well the truck's able to absorb some of that stuff. Really cool. The physics engine that BeamNG has come up with to make this stuff work, because at the beginning of BeamNG, there was certainly not stuff that was capable of handling this, and now they've made, in my opinion, the best trophy truck game in the world. So their suspension model works a charm, and if you crash too, we're probably going to have a couple big crashes on our journey. I'm sure there's going to be a flip or two that completely demolishes the truck, and you guys will see just how good the crash physics work in this game as well. So here's a little bit of some slower speed stuff, little like kind of tight trails in here. We're also going to get into some silt beds. We're also going to get into some rocky hills coming up. There's a few jumps, but Baja racing is not necessarily about the jumps, unlike some YouTube channels showing pretty much only the jumps off. There's a lot of really slow speed, intricate racing, and it's not all wide open fun, just absolutely hitting massive whoops. It's a lot of timing and not overdoing it, but also not underdoing it. You got to be going fast enough to still win the race, but you can't go too fast or you're going to launch off hills and crash. Like even right here, you got to slow down a little bit. You'll catch a little bit of air off a hill like this, but then land and still make these turns. And we're back at kind of the corner of the map that's pretty much like the green side of the map, as I would call it. There's the most shrubbery and stuff over here. There's also, and we flipped it. Knew that was going to happen. How much damage did that just do? Almost nothing. I'm surprised the light bar, well, the front bar messed up a little bit, but you can see there's just like a decent amount of damage done every time you roll this truck, and we're able to quickly reset. But yeah, BeamNG is no slouch. It'll tear a truck up. I definitely have my day-night cycles a little bit messed up here, I feel like. Did not expect to have it be this gnarly with going day to night, but we're back at night again. It's really only been about 10-15 minutes, I think, of driving, and we're in our second night, but you can see just how quickly it'll get dark. And the server that they have set up does this as well. So there is cyclic day-night that they have, and you got to be able to be good with using your lights and such. And it's fun when you do it with multiplayer too, because you can have someone in a chase helicopter following you along, and they can actually use their spotlight to shine the light in front of you. But I'd be curious to know. I didn't read entirely through the rulebooks to know, but I wonder if with the races that they do on that server, if like in Mexico with grounding helicopters, they make it mandatory that you can't fly a helicopter over your teammate at night. Because I was doing that with my buddy Todd, and yeah, I guess that would not be legal if we were doing it the real version. All right, so at nighttime, we're going to have to experience our first real tricky hill section here. Got some big rocks that we're going to have to kind of go over. This can easily pop a tire. I've had some flats when we get to this section of the track before, and this is very gnarly to just kind of navigate right, get all the way up this uphill cleanly. And then the downhill is even maybe trickier because there's even bigger rocks coming down. All right, here we go. We're going to drop in off the hill here. I'll look over the front of the truck just a little bit to kind of see these rocks a little bit better. And you by the way, you can do first-person camera, but it is very tough without using a wheel, and I am not using a wheel right now. But I plan to when we actually do like a full race through of this. And there we go down the hill. So we're back on the road. I think that this is technically a speed check. We got another Baja pit right here. We could stop and just get some fuel or fix the car if we want to, but we're going to just keep mobbing down this section of the highway. Some highways in Mexico, they'll close off and it'll actually be a little bit more kind of like a speed zone. But for the most part, when you get on the highway in the race, you're also just part of traffic. Quite literally. So you have to go the speed limit, and they do include the highway as part of the course. So there's other cars just hanging out, like, you know, going to work or whatever, you know, in different parts of Mexico or Baja, California. And you're just amongst them driving a trophy truck or a car. And there's usually police or something around that at least kind of like details which direction the course goes versus where the regular cars are supposed to go. But there's actually been even accidents where regular cars have just been hit by trophy trucks going by. So it's it can be tricky, but we're back in the daylight doing a little bit of ridge riding here, and we'll get back into the silt bays here in just a little bit. So this section of the course, definitely a little bit more of the slower speed stuff. There's some huge whoops that you got to go over, but it's very much like turning and then sharp little turns back. And once we get out onto the other side of these giant windmills, propellers, we're going to go ahead and have a little bit more open sections, but you can see just how kind of tight and treacherous it is through here. Big holes right there is going to kind of bounce us back up. And we're still not halfway. Not even close, actually. So we have got a bit of a journey still ahead of us, but we're going to trek all the way there, I promise. This little orange barrier right here might confuse some people if they're playing this track for the first time, but it's actually just designed to be a barrier from the track coming the other way, because this actually loops back on each other. You go out through this big mountain range right here and then come all the way back through the other direction and end up at that exact same spot. So just keep an eye out for that if you're trying this yourself. Get a good view from this ridge right here, just how vast the map is in so many different directions. And we've already explored about a quarter of it, I would say, is what this first little section of the Baja course really goes through. And a lot of these trails do exist on the map just as like a base gameplay. Ooh, this is going to be a rough ride over the bushes. Let's get back on the course. A lot of these trails do exist, but they've just kind of tied a little bit more of them together to make this map. All that stuff that's like the in-town Baja starting course and stuff like that, that's all stuff they modded into the game. And there's a few parts of the track right at the beginning as well that are also just modded into the game. So they've tied real trails in this system on Johnson Valley together, and then also added some elements to make a true Baja experience. And I think they hit the nail on the freaking head, man. This thing is so much fun to drive, and you just kind of zone out, honestly, when you're playing it for like 40 minutes. You're just absolutely in the zone with this trophy truck. Here's a fun little section right here. We're going to go into the rocks to start it, but a little kind of soaking wet wash bay here over some rocks, and just takes a minute to get the tires planted. So maybe the weirdest part about the game is like the sections where, so a little crossover little road right there, the sections where there's water, the truck just gets weighed down so much, like way more so than I feel like water really would, like especially that not deep of water. But it is what it is. Water should slow the truck down. I just don't feel like maybe that much, but that's here nor there. So let's continue on the journey as we go through a little split section here. All right, we're now into a little bit more of slow speed stuff again. We got some kind of single trail that we got to follow through here. Look at how big those whoops are right there. And then it really tightens up going back this way. We're going to get into some rock gardens coming up here, going in and out of another hilly section. And then we're actually going to go down the backside of it into this tricky valley that also has a lot of rocks. But you can see, you go off course and hit some of these rocks, it is devastating. I mean, it'll absolutely destroy the front of the truck. And the point of the Baja race server too is like, they say you can reset, but it's really only if the truck cannot like go forward drive or if you've rolled. So, you know, you really have to try to manage the truck and try to get it all the way to the checkered flag as well, as best as you can. And they monitor that stuff, which is kind of cool. Like, again, a very realistic experience trying to do this Baja race. As the sun has come back out again, and we're almost out of our rock gardens. Now we got a high speed straightaway right here, kind of getting closer to the silt bays, which you'll see how much the track gets weighed down. Let's do a little side angle here, just seeing the truck float over these bumps. Look at that suspension, man. It's so impressive what this game can do. It just looks so realistic to what the trophy trucks actually do IRL too, which I love it. And we're cooking, man. We're doing almost 100 miles an hour over these whoops like it's nothing. And you got some fans hanging out up here. They're excited to see us going by. Just absolutely pinned to the gills. Bouncing the truck. Just digging in a few spots. So you got to be careful there. And now back into a little bit of the tight single track trail stuff up here. So here's the valley I was talking about. Another rock valley right here, which this is very typical of Southern California and Baja California aesthetics. There's a lot of sand washes that have like what used to be riverbeds going through them, and there's rocks everywhere. Very fun to ride on a dirt bike because you can kind of just weave through all of them, and there's usually some really fun single track stuff you can do. But in a truck, it's tough because these rocks will get up and bite you in a hurry, and you got to be very particular about getting through them like this. We got even fans hanging out in here trying to watch us go through this chaotic section. And we're finally out the other side. Oh, we have gone over, dug into the ground a little bit. We're going to keep going, though. Truck's a little bit banged up. That's just mostly cosmetics, and we knocked the light bar down just slightly. You can see it's no longer level with the top, but we still have lights. So we're going to keep trucking until this thing is completely in the ground, because that's part of it, man. You might roll the truck even in these races. That's not good. Oh, my goodness. We just dug the nose in. Somehow did not damage it further, but now we are missing a few lights out the front. That's okay, we're going to keep going for it. I just want to point out, now that we're driving at night, how realistic the front end damage is with the lighting that gives off from the trucks too, because you can see without that front bumper in the way, that, you know, the front of the truck was fully lit. The path was very well lit, but now that that bumper's been knocked in front of some of the lights, you can actually see the shadow of the bumper right there as we're going to miss going down this little section of the course. So that's, I mean, that attention to detail in this game is insane. It's unbelievable how that looks just from a little knock of the front bumper, knocking it in front of the lights, and it totally affects the lighting that you have in front of you. It's like we got ourselves another pit coming up here, and the sun is coming back out. So we made it to what, day 4? I feel like this is making the journey look so much longer than it is. It's still a very long course, but it's not as long as 4 days long. But it's still cool that you can cycle the sun and the nighttime a little bit back and forth so that you can experience both and really get immersed into the experience. Oh boy, we are really cooking down the straightaway, bouncing a little bit. We're actually in a split section right now, though it's tough to tell because the other split went way off to the other side. And there it goes, crossing back over. So a couple different options. Could even plow into another truck as we rejoin together. And now we got a nice little jump right there, going by some trees. Oh, and there's some definite damage on the right front of the truck because it's pulling one direction a little bit. I don't know that that's necessarily wouldn't think it's like anything to do with the axle or the wheel necessarily, but maybe just a little bit of damage with the steering stem or something that's causing that pull. Got 3-way trails right here and just bouncing through the middle. I mean, these bumps are much bigger than the truck is showing because it's just soaking so much of it up. Got a little jump over the hill right here, and oh, we kind of fishtailed. We're bouncing through the bushes. We're knocking some stuff off now. Almost got this left side of the truck completely knocked off. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold her on. Oh my goodness. Nope, we're over. It's over. Oh, we're still going. I'm gonna need to reset before night though. We just lost our light bar. I can't imagine it's gonna be easy, but I don't know how we saved that. And now we're in the silt beds. Look at how deep this sand is, and it just digs in. Look at the tires just buried in the ground. And the truck is pulling one direction as well, so it even slows us down that much more. I love this, though. We have deep silt sand washes all through Southern California and Baja. So realistic how this works, too, with it pulling it down, and you really have to try to stay on top of it. In fact, I think the Baja 1000 last year, most people DNF'd at the silt bays on like mile 300, so it's not the easiest thing to get through. A little road jump right here, and we're back through on this side of the map again, kind of more outskirts, but more central of the outskirts, like not at the corner of the map, I don't believe. Although our truck is getting weighed down quite a bit now. I think the damage is pretty substantial. In fact, you can see the wheels even kind of shaking. I think that front right wheel might be slightly broken. Oh. And the sun's about to go down again, so we might have to do a reset just to get our lights back, because I don't think I have any lights remaining. I don't see any lights in front of the truck right now. And we might be completely screwed. So let's fake a pit stop here, as if we're going to get the truck fixed up. So we'll stop right here and we'll get a nice hard reset. There we go. Get our lights back. And we'll stop for just a second before continuing on the course. Whoa, we got a bunch of fans in this zone. A nice jump into it. Crowd yelling at us as we go by. Again, very Baja-esque type thing. And the sun's coming up soon, but we're absolutely tapped on this straightaway right now. Jumped a road, I think, 3 times now on this straightaway alone. And this thing just goes forever to the base of these mountains over here. We're getting pretty close to the end, actually. We're not too far off at this point. So you got a little bit of some rocky sections in the hills right there. Oh, we got a right-left tire deflated, and you can see what that looks like now. And we're going to spin it through the corner right there. It absolutely should have just hooked up and flipped me, but it didn't. So we're going to rock this for a little bit before we'll... I'm trying to get to pits before I pull off and fix stuff so that it feels like realistic to do that. We do have a flat right rear right now and almost went for a bit of a ride. I think there's a pit up here, so we're getting close. Psych, it's just a fan zone. I thought there was a pit up here, but just ripping through the fans with a flat tire. Oh, there we go. We got a pit zone up here on the right, so we'll take full advantage of it. Come on up here and get that tire changed out. Get stopped in there. Don't have to stop in here, but we're just trying to be realistic. I could have just stopped on any part of the track and reset the vehicle. Trying to keep it as real as possible. And this section right here, man, the first time I got in this section, I was like, why are there so many arrows pointing this direction? Where am I supposed to go? You're actually supposed to split through these last two to this left side right here. And you can see the section where we started at. That's the city over there that we started. But we're actually going to turn away from that now. And we'll be back in probably about like 10 minutes over to that side. Yeehaw! We are off-roading, ladies and gentlemen. This section right here has got a lot of time to catch some air. Some deep whoops right here. And then another road gap, I think, right here that you could just absolutely bomb over. Just whoosh. And then into the whoops again. We're going to slow down because we got a turn coming up. You can see the power line shadows going over us as the sun sets on the hillside behind us. And then just a little bit of racing left in this one. Yeehaw! Doing some big bounces through the hills here. Deep in the night. And now we're back up on some high-speed stuff. I love those tracks that like the tire marks kind of sit into the trail a little bit. Tires, I should say, not the tire marks. Got another pit up here on our left side, but we don't have too much damage. A little quarter panel damage. We're just going to scoot by them. And it looks like we're going this way. Whoop, nope. All right. Rolled it. That's all right. We were off course anyway. I think we're meant to continue on the trail down here to the right. I just accidentally looped back and we just flipped it again. And we're stuck, so we're going to have to reset. All right, so I just actually got lost, and I don't really know where. I just had to take a massive detour back to kind of my last known location. So I got to do a better job of following the signs here because I completely blew it. We just lost almost a whole day of daylight just trying to go back to this spot because I was on this path, and then I crashed twice, and I thought I had reset going the right direction, but maybe I had just looped back around. And now this road's going to take me for a ride, but we're really not that far from the end. I thought we were almost done, and I completely blew it. So this total time is going to be a lot longer. All right, at least we found arrows. Okay, so it looks like this may have been my mistake. I was supposed to go left right here. I may have gone straight. And yeah, this doesn't make sense now because we'll eventually loop back down kind of on the right side of that big pole that was just in front of us. Or actually, I think we end up on the left side of it and then get up alongside the highway. Almost all the way back to the finish. So we're almost there. I promise. All right, off of this hillside, we now get to go down this long straightaway that is going to run right along the highway and between these telephone poles. And we're not quite there yet, but it's going to go under the poles here. There we go. Now we are pretty much on this straightaway. We're going to pass, I think, a pit or even two because the straightaway goes pretty much from one end of the map to the other. And if you're daring enough, you can certainly hold it wide the whole way, or you can cross over a little bit and get spooked. There is one of the pit stops right there. Some fans watching as we try to get closer to the finish line. We are just about there. I think we got like 3 corners left to make, and you can start seeing the town appearing in the distant of the right-hand side of your screen. You're just on it. But what a fun experience, man. This game is so fun. I really want to do this Baja75 race next time they have it, so let us know in the comment section below if you guys want us to like stream that or maybe record it and play it, or if you want us to maybe try to get a couple people on together to race each other on this course and do a little bit of a time trial race. We could have some people in helicopters flying over each other, making it a little bit more of a fun experience. Either way, I'll include links to this in the description below so you guys could check out the mod map. You could check out the Baja servers. I think it's just Baja75 for both of the servers when you search it on BeamMP. And any questions or comments that you guys have, I'm happy to answer them because I would love for any of you moto fans out there that might be interested in Baja racing to get involved and get excited about some trophy truck action because this was a blast. Love doing this kind of stuff, and hopefully we get more Baja courses in the game soon. But that's it. We've made it to the finish. 1 corner to go, and we will have completed the loop. Of course, I'm almost going to blow it in the last corner, but we did it. We finished the Baja 75. It only took however long the time I put on the screen is for us to get there, but we did it. And now we get to celebrate with the crowd, go up on the stage, get interviewed by the people. I don't think we won because we were going too slow. But man, what a fun experience. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you stopping by and watching regardless of which, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. So long for now.